This is the scope. And the PM, what is the PM? The project manager, yes? The PM needs to control and manage this scope. But if the scope needs to be changed, the PM needs to talk to someone else outside the scope. And here we have a new figure in project management that is called the project sponsor. So who is the project sponsor is my question. What do you think? Who is the project sponsor? It's not the project manager. Now we know that. So who is the project sponsor? Ideas. Patricio, what is your perception about this, Patricio?
I'm guessing it will be the board or a stakeholder.
So let's, very, very close. Let's define a stakeholders before we go to this point. What is a stakeholder in project management? What is a stakeholder?
Maybe in a specific area within the company.
Anyone that at some point touches, right word, touches the project. Anyone that at some point, even for 1 second, interacts with the project. So stakeholders are everywhere in project management because you have employees knowing about what you're doing in project management. You have suppliers informed, providing you things for you to do project management. You have company directors knowing, giving you feedback about the project that you're running. You have team members helping you to deliver the project. So everyone that at some point is involved, even for 1 second, with the project is a stakeholder. So no. Is not a stakeholder. The project is sponsored by default is a stakeholder, of course. But we cannot generalize the concept to that level. Now, we know now what a stakeholder is in project management. Anyone that at any second, at any moment is involved with the project. The project sponsor, listen up, is someone with 2 qualities, and one of those qualities is power. Power, a lot of it. A lot of it. A lot of power. A lot of power. But that's not enough. Having power is important, eh? For an sponsor. It's important. Without it, it cannot be a sponsor. You need power, but not enough. You also need something else that is called influence. Influence. When you have power and you have influence in a company, you have all the qualities to be a project sponsor. Who is the project sponsor? Is this person with power and influence in the company that will say to you, listen up, that will say to you, project manager, go ahead and run the project. So the project sponsor is that person that is saying to you, project manager, go ahead and run the project, or will say to you, sorry, the project has not been approved. You see the level of power? But also the project sponsor needs influence, okay? Because the project sponsor needs to go to the board and defend, right word, defend your project. Against what? Against other projects of the organization. Remember what I told you, resources are, what happened with resources in project management?
They are limited.
They are limited. So the project sponsor needs to go to the board to defend your project because the board knows that the resources are limited. So the board needs to sacrifice some projects. Do you think that all projects that are proposed in a company are approved? No. In fact, majority of them don't get through the proposal. Why? Because economies are like that. You cannot do just everything. This is not a magic word. We need to operate in real life. And in real life, we have resources, and resources are limited. So the company, if the company say to your project, yes, at the same time, the company will say to another project manager, a friend of yours probably, will be saying no. So the good project manager, the ones that we are educating here, all right, they understand the importance of this person that is called the project sponsor. So when you go to the company to propose a project, you don't go to the company as a whole. You don't call for a general meeting to discuss the project. Man, it's crazy, man. Like the amount of people that I have seen doing this, the amount of people that I have seen writing an email to 20 people in the company telling them about this new idea, this new project, is ridiculous. And you know what is the first thing that I realized? That they do not know project management. Straight away, from that very email, I realized that they don't have qualifications in project management. They don't have experience in project management, because if they knew project management, they will not send that email, that proposal to 20, 30 people in the organization. No. The project manager that knows what he or she is doing will find only one person. Listen up, one person, one, not two. I mean, cannot be more clear than this. One person, not two, not three, not 20. One person will find one person, and this project manager will discuss this project concept, because the project doesn't exist yet. It's a concept. Will discuss, will share this concept with this very person, one person. What is the name of that person? The project sponsor. So the project manager needs to look for someone in the company that has power and influence. If you find someone with power but no influence, don't even tell that person your project idea. No need. Because that person with a lot of power, in terms of money, in terms of years of experience, in terms of knowledge probably, will not have what is required to influence others in the board. So the board say, yes, let's do that. That is a mission critical project for the company. So it's not just about power, but it's also not about influence either. I have seen people at operational levels in companies. A receptionist, for example. I have seen receptionists with a lot of influence in companies, like a lot. Like they say something, the company goes around that idea. You know, the receptionist goes and say, we should be doing the Christmas party in that restaurant. And the company goes, yes, of course. You know, that's, she always is right. She's always right. Or she goes and say, I don't like that person. You know, she started working here 2 weeks ago, but there is something about her that I just don't like, the receptionist would say. Guess what happened to that person? It's fired, man. A lot of influence, but little power. So you need to find this gem, this superhero in the company that is called the project sponsor. Now, the project sponsor needs to be someone that is working in the company always. Whereas the project manager could be someone working outside the company.
Yes, exactly.
So it's just to start connecting all the ideas. Remember, we are in the baseline, yeah? It's full on. We are going to learn all these key concepts so then we can execute. Tavish, can you tell us a little bit of your experience in these regards?
Yes, the baseline is play the key role for any project. We have to define each and everything and define the scope of responsibilities and authorities as well while in the resources. So when we will start the project, we know the scope and everyone know their responsibilities and authorities.
Wow, the responsibilities and authorities. Are you listening to this? Everyone knows. In project management, everyone knows what is their role. That's why I told you. Thank you, Tavis. Your insight is so appreciated.
Welcome.
In project management, as Tavis has mentioned, people know what is their role. And the project manager needs to tell people, hey, this is your role. You need to do the system. And that's your responsibility. And don't give me dramas about it. Don't give me dramas about your responsibility because that is your task. Now, my task is different to use though. And then the other person would say, yes, and my task is different as well. I am not doing the system, I'm doing the marketing. Okay. And that is your task. So in project management, everything is about what is the role of that person within the project, what is that person needs to deliver in the form of a task. A task. A task is an activity, is the minimum representation of work to be done in project management. Super important to remember this, my friends. We need to do activities, we need to do tasks in project management. But they are not these very complex things. No, they are very simple things. People understand what needs to be done, when, how. And there is one person that is associated with that very task. It's great that we get into this point now. And the reason I am mentioning the project sponsor as a critical component of managing the scope is because when you go to the project sponsor, imagine that you want to have, I'm going to tell you my example. When I was working for Packard Australia, after 2 years of working there, I realized that the company was not represented digitally to best advantage. I'm going to repeat this so you understand how a project stats. I was in China. I was invited to participate in this company, so I moved from China to Australia with my family again. And I started working for this company. And after 2 years of being involved with the company, I realized that the company digitally was not represented to the best advantage. In other words, in real life, the company was like this, powerful. But in the virtual life, which is the internet, the company was represented like a small company. So it was not represented to best advantage, you see? So I say to the company, let's create a digital blueprint. What is a digital blueprint? Websites, social media, articles, search engine optimization processes, visualization in Google engines, ranking in Google engines, and so on and so on. Let's represent what this company is in the digital world. But I didn't went to the company as a whole. I found a project sponsor. Who was my project sponsor? The director of IT. I went to the director of IT and I say to the director of IT, which is someone with power and influence, I say, I want to do this. And the director told me, what is the scope, Santi? And I went, the scope is, I need 5 years. It was a macro project. I need $2 million. And I need a group, a team of 6. And the project sponsor went like, thank you. I will let you know. That's it. I just want you to understand this. When you have a project in mind, because you are a curious mind, you go and find a project sponsor, someone with power and influence. And the project sponsor, which is someone with power, influence, knowledge, experience, know-how, if he's a good professional, probably it's not the first time that this person is being a project sponsor, will reply to you like, all right, what is the scope? And then you will say, my scope, what I have in mind is 5 years, $2 million, 6 people. And then the project sponsor will say to you, thank you, I will let you know. This director of IT went to the board. In majority of companies, the board meets every 2 weeks. So he went to the board, and after about 3 weeks, he sent me an email. Santi came to my office. I went to his office, and you know what he said? Santi, you have a green light. That's what he said. It's a very normal terminology in project management, the green light or the thumbs up. You have the green light, which means the scope that you have in mind makes sense to us. We are okay taking the risk of supporting this project now. I will be the project sponsor and you will be the project manager. You, project manager, report to me, project sponsor, and the project sponsor reports to who?
The board.
To the board. So, when there is a change request of the scope, this is all to explain the scope. And with this, I finish. What is inside the scope? What 3 elements we have the scope? Manuel, give me one.
And scope.
Sorry.
What is that, Manu?
Sorry, I cannot answer. Sorry.
Give me, all right, Patricio, give me one of the elements that are inside the scope.
Timeline.
Budget.
Resources. Budget.
Yes, timeline, resources, and budget. All right, Manu, are we clear with this?
Yeah, sorry.
Always, Manu, in a project, we
This is
need,
project scope.
this is the scope.
Yeah, budget, resources, and timeline. Yeah, all
That's
good.
simple, and I know that Tavis knows this. The beauty of project management is that it's recognized by the International Standard Organization. So the vast majority of people in the entire planet, they follow the same methodology of project management. So it's always like this. This will not change. This is the scope, right? So if somebody is asking you to add something else to the scope, then you will say, all right, send me a change request. And then you are going to analyze that change request with who? With the project sponsor. So then you go with the project sponsor and you say, this person wants us to add this to the project. And then the project sponsor will say, yes, it is approved, that change request. Or will say, not yet, I need to discuss it with the board. And if the board says, yes, it is approved, then the project sponsor goes to the project manager and says, now you have $1.2 million, not 1 million. Now you have 7 people, not 6. Now you have 7 months, not 6.
Exactly. Good.
So we need to understand this process in order to manage the project scope. Guys, how are we going? Are we getting there in terms of the project scope? Great. I will give you 10 minutes for a break. Yeah. So it's 10:55. I will see you here around 11 and 5 minutes. Okay.
Australian
Thank you,
time.
Have a
Santi.
coffee.
Melbourne
Okay.
time.
Melbourne time.
Oh yeah,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Melbourne time. Melbourne time.